The legacy security concept is to use a proxy between your clients in their local area network and the internet. Now, your FortiGate can serve as a web proxy in a transparent mode and in an explicit mode. We will look at the explicit proxy. To get more easy setup tips for your FortiGate firewall, subscribe now and don't forget to click on the bell notification and you won't miss anything. We will look at the different benefits of explicit versus transparent or implicit proxy in a later video. But let me say that you can configure your proxy either manually in your browser proxy setting or by using a pack file, which we will look at that later. You can use your proxy to cache web traffic. You can generate numerous explicit proxy policies. And for now, let's start by moving the inspection mode of your FortiGate into a proxy mode. If we will look at the system setting, we can see that it is in a flow-based mode. We can do it either using the graphical user interface or by using the CLI. So config system settings and set inspection mode to proxy. And now if we will refresh the page, we will see that our FortiGate moved into a proxy inspection mode. The second thing to do is to choose the explicit proxy. It is already enabled in my settings. Once it is enabled, you can move over to your network menu, explicit proxy. There you can configure the different port numbers that will be used in your HTTP and HTTPS traffic. You can use 8080 both in HTTP and HTTPS, or you can configure a specific port. You can also do it using the CLI. Config web proxy explicit. Now, if we will show the full configuration, you will see that the status currently is enabled, and you can see that we have HTTPS incoming port is set to 8080. All right. The third thing to do is to move over to our interfaces. Now, I have an interface that is connected to my router. It is the WAN interface, and I have an interface that is my LAN interface. When I edit it, I can use the enable explicit web proxy. So you actually enable the proxy on the interface itself. If we will move over to the explicit proxy settings, you will see that the default firewall policy action is denied. So currently, if I will not configure a proxy policy, any traffic that will try to move over through my proxy will be denied. So the thing to do is to configure a proxy policy. Now let's create a proxy policy. It is currently enabled on port 3, which is my LAN port. The outgoing interface is my WAN interface. Source for now will be all. Destination will be all. Service, starting from 6.0, you have to use the web proxy service. Now you can use the different security profiles on your proxy. Okay. So now we have a explicit web proxy policy that will allow traffic on that specific interface. So let's move over to my Windows 10 that is on my port 3 interface, and let's see what happens there. So let's start by configuring the proxy settings on my browser. We will look for the proxy settings. And now let's configure the gateway itself is 192.168.6.1 and the port number is 8080. It all goes well. Now, one thing that we can do is to look at Wireshark at the traffic itself and see, once capturing, that the traffic goes to port 8080, which is the listening port on our interface, on our proxy interface, and not straight to the server or the web server itself. So there it is. Let's look at the source, which is 192.168.6.66, which is destined to 192.168.6.1. Apply it as another filter, and we can see that the SYN, SYNAC, and ACK is towards the 8080 port of our listening